This is Indraprasth channel of Akashvani, Delhi. Please listen to an interview with Professor Dr. Nagesh Kumar, Director, the Institute for Studies in Industrial Development, ISID. Interviewer is Manoj Mayankar.
It's a pleasure and a privilege to welcome Professor Nagesh Kumar, noted economist and presently Director, Institute for Studies in Industrial Development, to the studios of All India Radio. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. I'm delighted to be back in this studio. I have fond memories of my last visit to the studio long time back, and I am very honored to be back in this hall. Thank you.
Professor Nagesh Kumar, let us come to a rather, not a very exciting word, a rather very technical word, industrial development.
Right.
Now, if in a science program we are discussing industrial development, the first question that comes to mind is, should we look at industrial development purely from a prism of science and technology, or purely from a prism of social science, or both prisms together?
I think both prisms together. First of all, industrialization is critical for a country like India with a very youthful workforce because we need to find good, decent jobs for our youthful people, especially 12 million people who join the workforce every year. We need to create decent jobs can be created in either manufacturing sector or in services. In services, we have been doing very well and services have come to kind of dominate India's economy to the extent of 56% of GDP coming from services. However, services create jobs for a certain class of highly educated and trained people, highly paid and decent jobs, but only for highly trained workforce, and they have not been able to create many jobs for blue collar or less skilled, semi-skilled people.
You mean manufacturing?
Yeah. So we need to create more opportunities for decent jobs for those people who are left out of jobs from the services revolution by creating manufacturing sector jobs. So expansion of manufacturing sector is very critical. And so in that context, India's next phase of India's development will have to be increasingly led by manufacturing led transformation or industrialization or industrial development. And the government is already showing that kind of priority, attaching high priority to industrialization, and a lot of schemes in the past few years have been adopted, including Make in India and then Atmanirbhar Bharat, which were essentially focused on exploiting or tapping the full potential of manufacturing sector in India to create more jobs.
I've got my answer partially. So allow me to frame my second question on again from the prism, as I say, of technology, innovation and Industry 4.0, which I don't know whether to call them buzzwords or a buzz phrase these days. One can understand technology and innovation, but Industry 4.0, for a common listener, this might come across as a very complicated equation. So what is Industry 4.0?
Yeah, well, Industry 4.0 is in the fourth industrial revolution. So the first industrial revolution, as we remember, was the invention of steam engine, which drove a lot of industrialization. Second one was the electric power, and the third one was computers coming into being, the IT revolution. Now, the IT revolution is leading to the fourth sort of industrial revolution, where artificial intelligence and machine learning allow machines to perform a lot of tasks which so far only human beings could do. So this has positive and negative effects. For instance, number of industries, all different types of economic activities can become far more productive with the use of artificial intelligence. For instance, in health, some of the routine checks or routine prescriptions could be done by a computer, seeing the diagnosis or tests and all that. So doctors can focus on more critical diseases or more critical interventions when they are needed. In agriculture, the artificial intelligence and machine learning can guide our farmers to fertilize or put some ingredients or water or irrigation, optimize all of these inputs to get the best results. So there are applications in every economic field, and it can be productivity enhancing. But for a country like India, there could also be negative consequences. That number of routinized tasks may be done by machines and creating less jobs. So that is where we have to play in a manner that we leverage the positive sides, artificial intelligence or Industry 4.0, and do not allow too many of our jobs to be made redundant. The other opportunity for India is that in the context of aging across the world, like Japan, Korea, China, Europe, and other parts of the developed world, there is a huge and very rapid trend towards aging society, which means that people who can be trained to use or leverage this Industry 4.0 will not be found in the other countries. They will be found in India, where we have youthful population. So we have this opportunity of train our youthful workforce into artificial intelligence and machine learning kind of jobs, which will be in huge demand. And so India has the potential to become a skill capital of the world. And if you look at it that way, so for India, this Industry 4.0 represents many opportunities, but also some downside. So we need to do it or exploit it in such a manner that we maximize the positive side and minimize the negative consequences.
Professor Kumar, you've answered it so well, and this is an opportune moment to talk about the role and function of the Institute for Studies in Industrial Development. Now, this is a name not many of us would be familiar with this. Indian Council for Social Science Research is a term that possibly many young people know, but this one is new. We want you to tell them what this is all about, the entire institute.
Yeah, well, you mentioned about Indian Council of Social Science Research. Indian Council of Social Science Research is a government organization under Ministry of Education established to foster social science research, including policy research. So it manages or promotes or fosters its work through 25 research institutions set up, established across the country in the length and breadth of the country. And Institute for Studies in Industrial Development happens to be one of those 25 institutions supported by ICSSR, Indian Council of Social Sciences. Now, as you mentioned, the name is Institute for Studies in Industrial Development. So obviously it works on the issues relating to industrial development, which include manufacturing sector, all different areas of manufacturing sector,
and all skills,
and also related skills, and within the manufacturing sector, now we are paying special attention to two critical areas for future expansion of manufacturing. One is, as you referred to earlier, Industry 4.0, which has opportunities and challenges for India. So how do we maximize the opportunities, minimize the challenges? The other is the green industrialization. In the context of climate change, we need to address the issue of growing and prospering our economy and create more jobs, but in a manner which is not damaging for the environment. So we are living in a world of carbon constraints. We can't afford to add to the pollution and carbon emissions, carbon dioxide emissions. So we need to pursue our industrialization strategy in such a manner that it helps in creating more jobs, more incomes, but also does it without creating pressures on the carbon side, and does it in a sustainable manner. So green industrialization or sustainable industrialization is an approach which will help India to achieve prosperity while also taking care of sustainability. And so this is something, emerging new field, like IR 4.0 or Industry 4.0. So these are new emerging futuristic areas, and any government, for that matter, in a developing country like India, would need support and policy advice to achieve these objectives, in a very optimal manner, keeping in mind India's, strengths and weaknesses and opportunities and challenges. So our focus is on driving these two sectors with other areas of manufacturing, including through MSMEs, startups, technology and innovation, because innovation, innovative activity is very important for our enterprises to achieve competitiveness and be in the international markets beyond just serving domestic markets. So we are working on all of these issues. How do we push our enterprises to be more innovative and doing more R&D? How do we support our MSMEs, which are weaker players of the system, and how we leverage the larger enterprises to support MSMEs? So there are all these issues on our work program, and also how to maximize the opportunities presented by globalization. We need to be, in the international markets for whatever it is worth, because we can fully optimize our opportunities in manufacturing sector by not only feeding the domestic market, but also tapping international markets.
Professor Kumar, naturally the next question that comes to my mind now is, you've had a long international exposure through your association with the UN. Or even if I come to the present times, if you look at ISID, I'm sure you have, conferences and programs happening there too. My simple question is, are there lessons that we could learn from other lands of the world?
Yes, very important question indeed. Of course, one would say that every development experience is unique, because a country has different sets of resources, opportunities, endowments of natural resources and human resources, and a strategy that it pursues should be the one which is keeping in mind its own unique situation. However, there are lessons to be learned from other countries which have been very successful, and in that context, I think we have a lot to learn from the experiences of East Asian countries, in particular, for instance, Republic of Korea, South Korea, which was in 1960 or 1960s, was not so far in terms of development levels from India. But today, they are a very high income country. They are very, visible force in many areas of manufacturing sector.
Surpassing Japan, if you
yes, exactly. And in consumer electronics, in semiconductors, in shipbuilding, in other parts of IT sector, and even chemicals, they are forced to reckon with. And so we have certain lessons to learn from these countries, when we start looking at how did they achieve and got where they have got, one finds there certain lessons to be learned from their experiences. One is focusing on domestic enterprise development. So building your own anchor firms, your own enterprises which represent the national capabilities, national technological capabilities, national abilities to master certain fields. And so we need to develop our own enterprises and allow them to grow to certain size and become international in their character. So that helps in achieving certain national objectives, and so that is one. then pushing them to be internationally competitive through focus on innovation, on R&D. So look at today, Korea spends more than 4% of their GDP on innovation, innovative activity, largely done by their enterprises, their companies. In India, this proportion of resources spent on innovation is only 0.7%, which may be an underestimate, but it is way below what Korea spends. So there are so many such lessons to be learned and adapted according to our national situation.
Which brings me back to ISID once again.
Yeah.
From a young person's point of view, are there courses offered or internships or programs? How is it structured?
Yeah. Well, largely ISID has been an academic research institution. However, in recent years, we started to put attention to more policy oriented research and policy dialogues and advocacy, because what we work on should also reach the policymakers. So this is one interface, and so we organize a lot of activities, a lot of research seminars, a lot of policy dialogues, and we also get young people to join our faculty as interns every year. And now recognizing that industrialization and manufacturing sector development is going to be a high priority area for our development policy, we need trained people, people who are trained in policy research on industry. And so we are starting a new PhD program with the support of Jawaharlal Nehru University, which will be vetting our courses and giving a degree at a successful completion of that course. So this is something which will start this year, and we have already announced this program, and we would be recruiting new PhD students in the academics session starting from July-August 2024, and we will be working with them to make sure that they are trained as finest is kind of young researchers trained in industrial development related issues and are able to contribute to policy making in the coming years.
Professor Nagesh Kumar, conversing with you has cleared a lot of cobwebs in the head. I'm sure in any informed listener's mind, the distance between pure science and technology and social science has reduced now. And as a parting shot, just a couple of minutes ago, there were lessons to learn from Korea and other countries. Are there lessons to learn from your journey and evolution as an economist for somebody who's in the, highly technical manufacturing sector?
Yeah, well, this is a difficult question. And I think, for somebody or a company or an enterprise in the manufacturing sector, I think what is important is to keep in mind that we need to grow, and firm size comes out as a very important determinant of competitiveness and firm performance. So they need to keep in mind, the constant expansion of their enterprise. And the other thing which I, remember and, appreciate very much, admire very much, is the Japanese companies' strategy to plow back profits. The Suzuki Motors or Maruti Suzuki is a very good example, and the chairman of Suzuki India, Mr. Bhargava, has also emphasized this point, that rather than distributing profits and eating them away, you keep plowing back, the profits to build the company, reinvesting them and growing it further, so that over time you become a major force to reckon with. And this is something which our companies need to learn and emulate. So there are many such stories. Small interventions help to grow. So growing over time in scale and ambition, diversifying and looking at the world market as your market, rather than just limiting yourself to the town, village, or state or provincial market as your market, but looking not only at the national market but international markets, and the dogged pursuit of competitiveness through focus on innovation. I think these are few things which I feel will serve India and Indian industry very well if we pursue them.
Professor Nagesh Kumar, for a young budding startup entrepreneur, clearly spells dream big, otherwise don't dream at all.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming to the studios of All India Radio. It was a very stimulating conversation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed this conversation very much, and it was very, very interesting. I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you, sir.
You were listening to an interview with Professor Dr. Nagesh Kumar, Director, the Institute for Studies in Industrial Development, ISID. Interviewer was Manoj Mayankar. Produced by Dilip Jha, this broadcast came to you from Indraprasth channel of Akashvani, Delhi.